everyone, I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to my podcast, Life of an Artrepreneur. So I thought I'd keep this episode a little bit shorter this week because I've been doing a lot of planning for next week's episode where hopefully I'll be speaking with another artist. I know that in my episode with Shannon Mullen, the audio and the video wasn't great, even though we tried so hard to make sure it was alright. It did freeze quite a lot towards the end and the audio was a bit echoey. So I'm trying to sort that out so that doesn't happen for this next one. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it should be alright. I feel like with every single one that I'm doing with someone else, I'm kind of tweaking things so the next one is going to be better in terms of the quality. But yeah, just thought I'd keep this episode a little bit shorter, just give you an update really on what I've been up to this past week or so and some things that are coming up. So the main one being my upcoming workshop, which I am so excited for. There's just over 3 weeks to go now, so I feel like it's coming around really fast. You might have heard me speak about this already on my Instagram and on YouTube, but I'm basically doing a workshop that I'm putting on completely by myself at Stanley House Hotel and Spa in Lancashire, Blackburn Way, and it's going to be a nice autumnal themed workshop where we're going to be drawing 3 realistic deer in coloured pencils. I'm going to be talking through everything step by step, just like as I would do with one of my online tutorials. And yeah, just going to make it a bit more chatty and it'll be really nice to meet some of you in person. All the materials are going to be provided for you. Quite a few people have booked on already. There's only 10 spots available, so if you do want a ticket, I'd probably get one quick because there's just over 3 weeks to go. You'll get a glass of Prosecco on arrival if you want to, or you can have teas and coffees, whichever you'd prefer. Stanley House is such a nice location. It's basically a wedding venue. It's surrounded by countryside and lovely grounds, but it's really easy to get to. It's kind of got like a windy drive to get up to it, but it's really well signposted. It's very easy to find, just off like the main road. But yeah, while we're doing the workshop, we'll be able to look out onto all of the grounds and it should just be a really nice afternoon. So thank you so much to everyone who has bought a ticket so far. I can't wait to see you there. In some of the other workshops that I've done that have been 2.5 hours, we have drawn like a little horse eye study, which was about maybe 4 by 4 inches, so quite small but very realistic. However, towards the end I'd feel like it was slightly rushed. So I wanted this workshop to be less about creating something that's absolutely perfect, like a fur study or an eye study, and do something that's like a finished piece that you can literally frame afterwards. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is what we're going to be drawing. These 3 little deer using very like autumnal colours. I've actually done quite a few like this recently on my Patreon. We've done like timed drawing challenges. And if you're watching on YouTube behind me, you can probably see them 3 little lambs. That was one of them. We also did these ducklings the other day as well. Again, another timed series. And I think they're all going to look really cute together, like having these really small like animal drawings, but still looking quite realistic all together. But yeah, them 3 deers are what we're going to be drawing for this workshop, and I'm going to be breaking it down into really simplified steps that should hopefully be easy enough to follow along. And also I've made a workshop booklet that you can refer to throughout the workshop, which just shows like every step of the drawing really, again just to make it a bit easier. So yeah, not long to go now. I'm so nervous but excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you there hopefully. If you have booked a ticket, by the way, let me know by commenting below. I know most of you that are coming already, but yeah, do let me know. In terms of commissions, I felt like I went through a bit of a period of feeling quite behind with them because I was planning my workshop, I was doing loads of other stuff, and I was kind of doing my commissions in between everything else. And I had a lot of large scale ones that I did last month, which obviously the large scale ones take me a lot longer to do. So I just felt a bit behind. I feel like that happens. You can't juggle everything all at once. If you spend more time doing something else, then the other things kind of fall behind a little bit. But I do feel slightly more back on track now because this month I had a lot of smaller scale portraits to do, which don't take me as long. So yeah, feel more on track and a bit more organised now, which is good. In terms of Patreon, I finished off the lion cub tutorial, which was 12 by 16 inch, so around A3 size. So detailed. We drew in an entire background, so that took me, I had to spread that over 2 months because it just took me so long. But I still did a new tutorial this month as well in September, which was a small puppy cockapoo drawing where I worked on the hot pressed Canson Moulin du Roi paper, which I'd tested it before, but I'd never done a full portrait on it before. So it was nice to get a real feel for that kind of surface. I still prefer my extra white hot pressed Fabriano Artistico paper. I feel like that's always going to be my favourite paper. It does ache your wrist after a while because although it feels smooth, it does hold so many layers. It does have quite a lot of tooth to it. So in that sense, it's good because it holds loads of layers, but it does ache your wrist after a while. That's still my favourite paper, that and drafting film. Although I did really enjoy working on the Canson Moulin du Roi paper. I'd probably recommend that to anyone who's quite light-handed or you use quite a light pressure naturally when you're drawing. It didn't ache my wrist once. Everything just blends quite nicely because it's such a smooth surface. So yeah, it's a really nice surface to work on. So yeah, they're the 2 in-depth tutorials that I finished off this month. I also did another video on light and shade, which was my next video in the new Drawing from Life series that I'm doing. I tested out my new set of Derwent drawing pencils and I did another time drawing challenge. So I feel like Patreon takes up so much time every month. I give my heart and soul into Patreon, like literally. I do so much every month that I think, should I cut it down a little bit so I can focus more on other things? But I enjoy giving people that amount of content every month that's still, hopefully, high quality in terms of the tutorials and everything. But yeah, Patreon is definitely something that I really enjoy. As it's coming towards the end of September, I'm planning out my next load of tutorials for October. I'm kind of thinking maybe we're going to draw like a black cat or something Halloween related. A lot of people struggle with drawing black fur, and I've not really drawn a in-depth tutorial animal that's been predominantly black fur for a while. I think the last one I did was a panda, but that's obviously black and white. So yeah, maybe a black cat or maybe a bat. I don't know, something along those lines. It's a bit Halloween themed. I did like a black cat eye one year. It's just as like a focus tutorial. But yeah, I'll have a think of some options. Every month on Patreon, I always put some options on and let my patrons choose whatever they want to draw for that month. So it's completely up to them. And also because it's the end of September, this is when the organisation starts to really kick in because Christmas is basically around the corner at this point. It's 3 months exactly today, actually. It's the 25th of September today, so Christmas Day is in exactly 3 months. But obviously I need to send out all of the commissions and everything before Christmas Day. I need to make sure my online shop is all organised and up to date. I need to make sure my originals are framed and ready to go if someone wants to buy an original for Christmas. I feel like Christmas for an artist or any business is very, very busy, especially if you've got an online shop. And you definitely need to factor that in terms of the time that you've got in the day, because packaging takes a lot of time away from the time that you'd usually have to work on commissions or finish off Patreon things or admin or whatever it is. Packaging takes a long time. You definitely don't want to be rushing and putting yourself under loads and loads of stress towards Christmas. I know that that's easier said than done. Things do tend to kind of stack up, but as long as you stay organised and you schedule everything where you can, you should be okay. I also need to start thinking about my 2025 wildlife calendars as well. I usually order them around the end of October, but I'm going to try and order them a bit earlier this year, so I say, but we'll see how we get on. I feel like I've done a lot of new original work this year, so we should be good in terms of having every single month a completely new drawing in comparison to last year. I never really want anything the same in my calendars because I want it to represent sort of what I've done that year, and I can see how much I've improved over the years. I think I started doing wildlife calendars 2022, I'd like to say, maybe 2021, I'm not sure. I've either done 2 or 3 at this point, but I think it's a really nice thing to do actually, probably more than Christmas cards, because you have the calendar throughout the whole year. You know that someone's going to be looking at your artwork and like changing the month and looking at a different piece of work throughout the whole year, whereas a Christmas card, it like sits on the side of your table or whatever for the whole of Christmas, and then it comes down in January. So I think calendars are a nice thing to do. I need to actually decide which pieces are going to be making it to the calendar this year. I always like to try and include some of my favourite pet portraits as well, seeing as I am a pet portrait and wildlife artist. But yeah, I definitely need to crack on with that soon because I want to get everything ordered by the middle of October, which gives me about 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe I should get them ordered before my workshop, so then after my workshop I can just breathe a little bit. So that's what's going on at the minute in terms of giving you a bit of an update. Like I said, I just wanted to keep this episode a little bit shorter because I have been preparing for next week, where hopefully I'll be getting another artist on, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'll leave the link to my workshop tickets down below if you're interested in coming. If you've been watching on YouTube, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel to see more art related content, episodes, artist vlogs, tutorials, all that good stuff. And if you've been listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then I'd love it if you could leave a review. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a lovely rest of the week.